Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be speaking about the Amber specifications in the SSL v6 and Luna version 2 Draft 1 technical requirements. I'm going to turn my camera off until we get to the questions and answers so that you can see the slides in their entirety. Liesl will be monitoring the chat. If you have questions, technical questions or technical difficulties, you will be working with Liesl in the chat. So let's get started. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We will be posting the slides and the recorded webinar on our DLC News and Events page shortly after today's presentation. I'll also let you know that all attendees are automatically muted today, and we're going to keep it that way for the entire webinar. Next slide. Of course, though, we still want you to be able to communicate with us and get your questions answered. So if you have any questions at all, please use the question pane. You can access that by clicking on the speech bubble with a question mark inside of it. You can see it in the screenshot. It's underlined in green. That is distinct from the chat pane, which we will not be using at all during this call unless you have technical difficulties and need to speak with Liesl. So please be sure to put your questions in as written questions in the question pane only. And I will be answering your questions at the end of my presentation. So I won't pause to answer those questions, but we will get to them at the end. And if we can't get to all of them today, I promise that I will answer them by email this week. So keep your questions coming and let's get started. Next slide, please. Okay, so for those of you that are new to the DLC or don't know who we are a nonprofit organization. We provide decision makers with data and resources on quality lighting, controls, and integrated building systems to reduce energy, carbon, and light pollution. Next slide. Thank you all for attending today and for being part of our consortium. We have a 6-part stakeholder input process that we use to develop each of our technical requirements. Our technical requirements are not created in a vacuum. They are created together with our stakeholders. And right now we are at step 4 in our process, which is the 6-week comment period in Draft 1. Your comments matter to us, so please submit your comments to us in writing so that we can consider them as we develop the second draft. Next slide, please. This is our release timeline for SSL version 6.0 and Luna version 2.0. We had our main release webinar last week, and I'll be sharing a QR code at the end that will take you to the draft requirements, the comment form, and a recording of last week's webinar. We're going to host one more webinar next week on April 30th on the new controllability and field adjustable product requirements. Amber and field adjustability and controls are some of the biggest changes in the draft, so we had time for 2 additional detailed webinars this week for Amber and next week for controls. All right, next slide, please. Here's our agenda for today. I'll begin by covering the non-white light requirements in SSL version 6.0, including requirements for Amber LEDs. Then I'll cover the changes that we are proposing to Luna version 2.0, which is our program requirements for outdoor lighting that mitigates light pollution. Next slide, please. So the DLC is incorporating non-white light LED products into SSL version 6.0 and Luna version 2.0 for 3 reasons. First, we're proposing to allow non-white light and amber LEDs to qualify for all of our indoor luminaire product types and most lamp types. We believe that there is additional commercial and industrial value from amber LEDs that is not represented in our technical requirements or on the QPL today. You see an example here of a clean room environment with photosensitive applications. This is a use case for certain types of amber LEDs that you might see on the QPL next year. Second, we know that non-white light products reduce sky glow considerably compared to white light products. And constituencies that wish to lessen their sky glow for their human habitats and wildlife habitats alike may benefit from energy efficient non-white lighting. And then finally, many environmentally sensitive areas, including coastal areas with sea turtles, nesting on those beaches require specific kinds of non-white light, which we will represent as direct emission amber light here. Next slide, please. So we prefer to use standards as much as possible at the DLC in our technical requirements. And let's look at the chromaticity or color standards for non-white light that exist today and that we can pull from. So first, we're proposing to use an updated version of an ANSI standard called C78.377-2024. This standard has bins or quadrangles for CCTs that we use at the DLC. And in 2024, it was updated to include new bins for 1800 Kelvin and 2000 Kelvin products. You can see those two bins on the very right of figure A1. Next slide. We don't yet have standards for non-white light for general illumination, though. That is to say that there's no standard definition for phosphor-converted ambers or PC amber or direct emission amber or DE amber products. There is an ANSI working group that is working on a chromaticity standard for these LEDs that aren't characterized by using a nominal CCT designation, and we are part of this group, but the standard is not complete yet. We do, however, have other standards we can look at. So for example, we have traffic lighting standards and vehicle lighting standards that include bins for amber or yellow light. So on the left, you see a chromaticity figure for yellow LED traffic lights from the ITE, or the Institute of Transportation Engineers. This specific standard comes into play with our filtered amber definition because it's called out by certain counties that disallow products that have this color type so that products aren't confused with yellow traffic lights. And on the right is a chromaticity diagram from SAE J578, which is a standard for ground vehicle lamps and lighting from SAE International, the Society for Automobile Engineers, excuse me. And you can see that they have a standard or a chromaticity area for selective yellow colors and for yellow/amber colors. Next slide, please. So due to a lack of standard definitions for general illumination, the DLC has proposed the following definitions for 3 types of amber LEDs that we will accept in SSL version 6.0 and Luna version 2.0. I'll be describing them graphically in just a moment, so you don't need to read through all the text here, but I want to point out the bolded text. In 2 of the 3 cases for DE amber and PC amber, we are proposing not to allow chromaticities that are inside of those CCT quadrangles, so these products can't be described by CCT. And in the case of DE amber and PC amber, we're looking at dominant wavelength as a way of describing the characteristic of the light source. So next slide, please. So let's look at DE amber LEDs first. For the DLC definition, we are proposing that these products have a chromaticity, again, outside of the 1800 Kelvin and 2000 Kelvin quadrangles. So click, please, Lauren. So they can't have a chromaticity in that area. They have a dominant wavelength between 590 and 610 nanometers. And if we look at the SPD, which is the figure that you see on the right, they would have a spectral power distribution width at 50% of the full light output, or 50% of the maximum, that is 20 nanometers or less. And typically this is designated as FWHM, or full width at half maximum. Finally, these products have a 0 radiation below 560 nanometers. Next slide, please. If we look at the DLC's definition for phosphor-converted amber or PC amber LEDs, these are a blue LED with a phosphor that converts most of the blue light to long wavelength light. And for the DLC, we are defining it as follows. First of all, again, if you could please click, Lauren. They have a chromaticity outside of those CCT quadrangles, so they cannot be defined by a CCT. Second, they have a dominant wavelength between 590 and 600 nanometers and a full width half maximum of no more than 80 nanometers. So these are much broader than the narrow LEDs we saw with DE amber. And then finally, they have a secondary peak of radiant power in the blue range. You kind of see that little peak in the graph on the right. But no more than 1% of the total optical radiation can be below 500 nanometers. Now, we would love to get your comments on these definitions, so please add those in your general comments if you would like us to make changes or if you've got some ideas that are better than the ones we've proposed, for example. Next slide, please. And then finally, the last definition that we are proposing in Draft 1 is a filtered amber LED. And this is specifically for Luna luminaires or outdoor luminaires qualified to Luna. And these products also have to meet additional Luna requirements, which I'll talk about in just a moment. The use case for these products really is to allow filtered amber products to meet the Hawaii County codes and the Maui County codes. Those particular ordinances do allow filtered amber LEDs to qualify, and we want to make sure that those product types have a pathway in DLC to be listed on the QPL. And so the main characteristics of these types of products is that they have less than 2% blue light. There's a very specific way that blue light is defined in Hawaii, and you can see that in the definition. I won't go through it again. And then if you could click, please, Lauren. They have to be traffic color compliant. Basically, that means that they do not have a chromaticity that falls within that ITE yellow bin or that yellow traffic light area. Next slide, please. So let's look at the product types that we are allowing to use non-white light and amber LEDs in version 6.0. So we are allowing most products to include 1800 Kelvin and 2000 Kelvin and amber LEDs. This is a snapshot of table 11, which you'll see on pages 37 and 38 of the draft. As you can see here, all indoor luminaires would allow non-white light products to qualify, both 1800 Kelvin, 2000 Kelvin, as well as DE amber and PC amber products. Outdoor luminaires that include non-white LEDs must meet the requirements of Luna version 2.0 as well. So not all product types are allowed to have non-white light types of technologies, either amber or 1800K. We are asking a key question about this in Draft 1. So if you feel that there are products in here that should have very low CCTs or amber LEDs in them, please share your thoughts with us. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot of table 12 on page 39 of the draft that shows which lamps are allowed to have non-white LED technologies. And as you can see here, almost all lamps can use non-white LEDs if they wish. Next slide, please. And we recognize that non-white lighting products have important trade-offs in terms of lighting quality and energy efficiency. And we took these trade-offs into account when proposing thresholds for these products in SSL version 6.0. That said, it wouldn't be fair to have these products use our white lighting criteria because they simply can't meet it, and we want these products to be listed. We want transparent data to be available, and so the thresholds must change as a result. Next slide, please. So generally speaking, amber LED products and lower CCT products have lower efficacies. And to account for this, we're lowering our efficacy thresholds or increasing our efficacy allowances. And so let's look at the efficacy allowances first for low CCT products. SSL version 6.0 is increasing our minimum efficacy threshold requirements across all product types to keep up with the pace of technology improvements. We don't, however, want to disqualify lower CCT products from being listed. And so we're increasing our efficacy allowances, as you see here, with up to a 25% allowance for efficacy for 1800 Kelvin LEDs if needed. Now, we don't know that all products will need these efficacy allowances, but we don't want to discourage innovation or discourage technology improvement, so we're putting them in here. Next slide, please. And the luminaire efficacies that we are proposing in Draft 1 are by technology, not by PUD, specifically for amber LEDs. And that's for a number of reasons. One, there's not a lot of these products that are out there today. And so we looked at the median luminaire efficacy among commercial products to set these thresholds. There's about 5,000 products that we found with which we took this data. So we're going to start with these thresholds in Draft1, and we're looking for your feedback on these. So if we look at DE Amber, for example, that means that 50% of the products that we found on the market have an efficacy, a luminaire efficacy that is less than 30 lumens per watt. 50% are higher than 30 lumens per watt. We use 30 lumens per watt as the criterion in Draft1. The same for PC Amber. For filtered amber, there's not a lot of product data out there, but the data that we could find, we set the thresholds accordingly. I will mention that none of the non-white light products, whether they're these amber LED types or the 1800 Kelvin or 2000 Kelvin, are eligible for premium. And there's a simple reason for that. Premium sets additional requirements for efficacy, more stringent requirements for efficacy, lumen maintenance, color rendition, controllability, color maintenance above and beyond standard. And we just do not have enough product information to differentiate at this point in version 6.0. We might be able to differentiate in the future and have a premium classification for these types of products in the future, but as of today, we do not in version 6. Next slide, please. Let's look at the lumen maintenance trade-offs here and the lumen maintenance thresholds for non-white light products. So based on data analyses that we conducted, we are also proposing a lower L70 lumen maintenance threshold for non-white light products, as you see here, down to 36,000 hours as the L70 value instead of 50,000 hours. The driver lifetime requirement remains the same. Next slide, please. And if we look at color qualities or color rendering and color maintenance trade-offs, we have changed our requirements as follows. So first of all, we are not requiring any thresholds for color rendition for non-white light products in version 6.0. We are, however, requiring that manufacturers report the performance of these products. So it's okay if they have a lower CRI or RA value or a lower RF value, etc. But we want stakeholders to be able to see that data side by side. So no thresholds, but full product performance reporting as usual is required in your LM79 color reports. And similarly for color maintenance reporting, we do not have thresholds for this. We simply want you to report your color maintenance data as you do normally. And per the new updated requirements in Draft1, you would report CS4 and CS7 hours per TM35 for non-white lighting products as well, just as you would for white lighting products. Next slide. I wanted to highlight some key questions that are on the comment form. And here I've highlighted a couple in yellow that are related to non-white light in the quality of light section. Again, if you've got other comments related to our proposal, whether it's our definition or our requirements that isn't represented by these questions, please share them with us in the comment form. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about Luna really quickly. For Luna, next slide. We are continuing to support high quality, energy efficient outdoor lighting that mitigates light pollution. And to achieve these goals, we are doing a number of things. First of all, we're expanding our product types, allowing, again, products with 1800 Kelvin and 2000 Kelvin CCTs to qualify, as well as amber LEDs, as I mentioned before. And we want to reap the benefits of lower sky glow and reduced impacts on nocturnal organisms that these products can provide. We're also simplifying the testing requirements and the controls requirements in version 2.0 without reducing Luna's rigor, and I'll go over some of those details today. And then finally, you can see details about the PUDs that we accept and the testing requirements in tables 32 and 34 on pages 111 through 112. So let's look at some of these details next. Okay, so we are expanding Luna eligibility to include low CCT and amber lamps and retrofit kits. These were not allowed in Luna version 1.0, but we believe that these products can reduce energy use and light pollution both if we set the criteria carefully and correctly. One of the changes is that lamps and retrofit kits can only have a maximum CCT of 2700 Kelvin under Luna, not 3000 Kelvin as is allowed for luminaires, and that is based on input from our Luna advisory group. We're also proposing that field adjustable light fixtures can qualify even if they go above 3000 Kelvin, as long as they are shipped set to the lowest Luna qualifying CCT. For example, for a luminaire, it would be 3000 K. For a lamp, it would be 2700 Kelvin, and the lowest wattage. This aligns with our field adjustability changes in version 6.0 and taps into behavior that we have heard about contractors where in many cases the contractor will simply install the product as it was shipped and not make changes in addition. So we're going to leverage that behavior, we hope, with these changes. Next slide. So let's look at some of the details behind the lamps and retrofit kits themselves. This is on page 107 of the draft. This is table 33. And what you see here are requirements for all the PUDs or the product types that are eligible for Luna, including lamps and retrofit kits. And I've just highlighted the changes here in particular. This is a pretty long table. Based on our Luna advisory group, we're adding additional maximum thresholds for lamps and retrofit kits in Luna. This is not the case for version 6.0, but specifically to Luna. There's some additional maximum light output requirements. There's also additional maximum U rating thresholds we're proposing for the product in the luminaire for lamps. So 10,000 lumens is the maximum for lamps and retrofit kits. And we'll talk about turtle lighting in just a moment. And then a U1 or a U2, typically a U1 is the maximum U rating threshold we're allowing for these products, except for retrofit lamps for fuel-based canopy luminaires, for example, is allowed a U2 because we allow that for the luminaires due to the canopy itself. Next slide, please. And finally, let's look at our turtle lighting category. This is new to Luna version 2.0. These products must meet Luna version 2.0 requirements for testing, shielding, and controllability. So they have those sort of baseline requirements that they have to meet. And then they have more stringent requirements for maximum light output, uplight, limit on high angle light, and the types of LEDs that are allowed inside. Next slide, please. So this is the table for turtle lighting products. It's table 35 on page 114. And some of this information is in other tables as well, but we duplicate it all in one table so that you could find everything together. And as you can see here, the proposed maximum light output requirements are much lower than you typically see for other luminaire types. And that's based on stakeholder interviews and product information that we've gathered where we really want to keep the light output low for these product types. We do not value high light output turtle lighting products. We also will only allow direct emission amber, as I mentioned before, to be the type of LED that is allowed in these products. So no PC amber turtle lighting products, no filtered amber turtle lighting products, no 1800 Kelvin turtle lighting products. Only that narrow direct emission amber LED is allowed. In the future, we might allow orange or red LEDs. There's a key question around this in the draft. But for today, when we look at the majority of product types and when we look at the data that's out there, DE amber is beneficial for turtles, or at least less disorienting for turtles, I should say more accurately, and gives us the trade-offs in terms of lighting quality, energy efficiency, and light pollution mitigation that we seek. Turtle lighting products are the only products where we are proposing G rating maximums. So we report bug ratings at the DLC. We ask our submitters to use bug ratings and to report their bug rating performance. And when they test, to show the tested bug rating performance. But we have not used G before. We have U rating thresholds in Luna. But we are proposing using G for turtle lighting products because we know that it's important to limit the line of sight to the source. So it's important to limit the high angle light. And we found that the G rating is the most pragmatic way of doing so. And you'll notice the G ratings are quite low. We are requiring G0 for bollards and wall-mounted area luminaires. That's what we're proposing. And a G1 for pole and arm-mounted area and roadway luminaires. And would love your feedback on that as well. Next slide, please. So if you have submitted to Luna before, if you are a manufacturer attending this call, you have used the Luna pre-submission tool. This is a tool that manufacturers and submitters use to upload their SPD data and their IES files and to generate images for the Luna QPL. It's also a way that we validate the data and make sure the data is formatted correctly before the product is submitted. We are proposing to expand this tool to do a little bit more for version 2. So first of all, when you use this tool in conjunction with your Luna application, we are going to be calculating the % blue and the traffic color compliance for all Luna products, whether they use non-white light or not, whether they use filtered amber or not. So we'll be showing that on the Luna QPL and showing those results. We'll also be using this tool to check that turtle lighting SPDs have 0 radiant power below 560 nanometers. So rather than doing the calculation separately or waiting for a standards body or another organization to build this kind of tool, we're going to build it ourselves and put it into the Luna pre-submission tool. I really hope that helps manufacturers be able to tell whether they comply with the Hawaii County and Maui County ordinances because this tool will make it easy to do so. Next slide, please. And then finally, I wanted to speak to how we're simplifying the testing requirements under Luna version 2.0. In Luna version 1, as you see on the left here, when you did your sphere testing or your color testing, you were required to test your products with your maximum CCT, that is your Luna eligible CCT, and your minimum Luna eligible CCT at the highest light output. So you had to pick out new products to test. Similarly, for LM79 distribution testing, you had to pick the products for each unique optic with a maximum CCT and the highest light output in order to determine if your bug ratings for those products or your U rating met our requirements. For Luna version 2.0, we are proposing some simplifications. So first of all, for color testing, you will be able to test at any light output. So when you're identifying your worst case, your max or your min, if you've got, and your min if you have a family, and your amber LED products, you'll be able to pick products at any light output to test in the sphere. Those tested product data will be shown on the QPL, the SPDX files will be shown on the QPL, and the images corresponding to that XPDX file will be shown on the QPL. We're not proposing any changes to our distribution testing at the moment, but to identify that amber is included in your distribution testing. So what we're hoping is that if you already have a qualifying product for SSL version 6 that's used for another worst case criteria, that you'll be able to potentially use that product for Luna testing as well and minimize additional testing with these simplifications. Next slide, please. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the controllability requirements in Luna version 2.0. Luna version 1, the version that is is required today and is being listed to today, has its own controllability requirements on top of SSL version 5.1. These requirements are intended to provide QPL users with more information about available controls that go beyond what 5.1 covered. In Luna version 2.0, we're proposing to make it a lot simpler. We're proposing that we will use the controllability requirements that are in SSL version 6, so that is the standard requirements or the premium requirements, and then those will go into your Luna qualification. There will be no additional Luna specific controllability requirements, and we hope that this makes the application process faster and simpler, and everything lines up really well for Luna this way. Next slide, please. So I wanted to just talk about the new metrics that are on the QPL in SSL version 6 and in Luna version 2 that have to do with non-white light. So for all amber LED products, you're going to see the nomenclature, that is DE amber, PC amber, or filtered amber. You're going to see the dominant wavelength, that comes from the LM79 reports. You're going to see the chromaticity data, the chromaticity coordinates from the LM79 reports for tested data. And then for all child products, you'll see just the nomenclature. Is it DE amber, PC amber, or filtered amber? And then for outdoor products that are Luna listed and use the Luna pre-submission tool as part of the qualification process, we'll also be showing you the percent blue. This is in compliance with the Hawaii and Maui County codes. We'll be showing you what's called traffic color compliance. Again, this is in conjunction with Hawaii and Maui County codes. And then if both of those are met, it will indicate that there is code compliance there. So lots of new data that we hope will be helpful with Luna version 2.0 and SSL version 6.0. Next slide, please. And then finally, I wanted to point out some key questions around non-white light that are in Luna version 2.0 on pages 112 and on pages 114. So here you see these key questions highlighted. We hope that we get feedback on all of these, including some new metrics that I didn't have a chance to talk about today, and some thoughts for the future, like using red, orange LEDs for total lighting products, for example. So please share your feedback with us in the comment form. That is the only official way to let us know what you're thinking. Even the Q&A that I answer here today is sort of an unofficial way for us to correspond with you. We still want to see these comments in the comment form officially so that they can be considered for draft 2. Next slide, please. So with that, I'll turn on my camera and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So let me look in the Q&A. I see 2 questions so far. Okay, so one question is DE amber monochrome amber? We see lots of names for narrowband amber. Narrowband amber is one, or true amber, or pure amber, or amber long wavelength. But yes, the intention here is that direct emission amber is the type of amber that is generated by the LED directly, not with a phosphor conversion, and has a full width half maximum of less than 20 nanometers. So it's not truly monochrome. It's not one wavelength, but it is very narrow. So yes, DE amber is our terminology for that. And I think that's the only question I have so far is about direct emission amber. So please ask more questions if you have them in the question pane. Or if not, I hope to see your comments on the comment form, and we'll share that in just a moment. We'll give some more time for questions. Yes, the presentation will be available after the webinar. Both the slide deck and the webinar itself is being recorded, and you'll be able to see that in the website, at the DLC website. So please refer back to that or share the webinar if someone wasn't able to attend. We'd love to have them learn more and give us your feedback. Okay. All right, here's a question. So one question was that amber in Hawaii and Maui County cannot fall within the traffic yellow. Can I speak more to that? So one of the value propositions we see for Luna version 2 is specific to a couple of counties in Hawaii that have very stringent requirements for amber LEDs that are sort of unlike requirements for amber LEDs elsewhere, are really unique to Hawaii. And it's really hard to meet those requirements right now because there aren't common tools that are available out there. So the requirement has 2 pieces. One is that it has no more than 2% blue, and they define blue very specifically in Hawaii as having a very specific numerator and a very specific denominator. So the numerator is 400 to 500 nanometers, and the denominator is 400 to 700 nanometers. That's a little bit differently than we look at SPDs elsewhere. So that's what they mean by percent blue, less than 2% using that ratio. And then the IT yellow is basically, I believe, a concern that they have over amber LEDs looking like yellow traffic lights and potentially being confused for yellow traffic lights in the visual field. And so they disallow products in those counties, again, per their code, to have a chromaticity or a color value, a color coordinate that is like yellow traffic lights. So ITE has a bin or an area that I showed before for yellow traffic lights, and what the tool will do is it'll make sure that the chromaticities of these products does not fall within or on the line of that bin so that it meets the county codes. We did not write that ordinance. We have nothing to do with that code. We simply want to make it easier for end users and regulators in Hawaii that are looking to meet those ordinances to find products using Luna version 2.0, because we'll be able to state clearly whether they meet that requirement or do not. Right now, sort of up to the specifier to determine if they meet those requirements on their own. So we're going to provide some help. All right, more questions? I saw one applause, so thank you for that. Okay, we'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll wrap up if we don't have any questions. Let's see. Nothing so far. That means it was clear. So I do want to, I'll just sort of invite you again, if you, those definitions that, yes.
If I may, sorry, there are questions. I'm not sure why you're not seeing them. I can read them for you.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. First one is, how many Luna products exist today? Do you expect that number to go up with Luna 2.0?
Okay. Oh, you know what? I just went back and I do see more questions. Thank you, Stuart. There are approximately 400 Luna qualified products today, and we do expect that number to go up with Luna version 2.0 because we are making new products eligible and because we are allowing amber products to qualify. Okay, and now I can see the other questions, so thank you very much. I don't know why I was stuck in that one. All right, so are there any applications of the amber ordinances on the East or West Coast is a question. There are specific ordinances around sea turtles. In Florida, for example, there's a number of ordinances that require some sort of narrow, non-white light requirement in Florida. And if you go to our ordinance map, you can see, Liesl, maybe you can put that in the chat. You'll be able to see links to all of those ordinances in Florida. They vary. A lot of them point to the Florida Fish and Wildlife requirements, and some of them have their own requirements. We do believe that the turtle lighting product requirements in particular will help with those ordinances. There are other ordinances in areas where there are observatories or energy codes where there are observatories where direct emission or narrowband amber lighting is required. We believe that the Luna version 2 spec will also help with those ordinances. Okay, oh good, and I see a link to ordinances here from someone. Thank you, Abigail. Okay. Does the DLC still plan to set testing criteria for lighting flicker in SSL version 6.0? Wilson, we will take that offline because this is an Amber webinar, but I will thank you for that question. Okay, next. Are the values for turtle lighting appropriate for other forms of flora or fauna? That's a good question. So it's my understanding that the sensitivity of a specific taxa, whether it's a wildlife organism, an insect, or a bush or a tree is very specific to two attributes. One is their spectral sensitivity, which is the wavelengths of light that they're sensitive to, but it's also their absolute sensitivity, how much light that they are sensitive to. And I will say that we know the spectral sensitivity of a lot of fauna. In fact, Travis Longcore published a compendium of spectral sensitivities of a number of taxa in 2023 that is excellent, and I'm happy to share that by email. That shows you their spectral sensitivity. But what we don't have in a lot of cases is their absolute sensitivity. How much light are they sensitive to? Is it more important that we dim down, say, to 1 lux, and then the color may not matter as much? Or is it critically important that we dim to, we use a specific spectrum? So whether direct emission amber is important for other flora fauna, I would say I'm not sure, given the trade-offs in energy efficiency and the trade-offs in lighting quality. I would say that it definitely, we should think about carefully about the products that we're applying for lighting. Lighting is for people, after all. It's only disruptive or changes the behavior of other taxa in the nocturnal environment. So we should try to use the most energy efficient lighting that we can. And in many cases, that might be 2200K or 1800K or PC Amber or something else. I don't think that it should be used everywhere. I think the trade-offs are too significant. Okay, let's see. All right, let's look at this question. So the various types of PC Amber that we are seeing, we have a number of PC Amber products that we have characterized. Some of them have sort of more blue light than others. What we try to do with the definition at the DLC was make sure that the full width half maximum, the width of the spectra is broad enough to allow many of them to comply, and to allow enough blue light that they can also participate, but not so much. I will say that we do not have a boundary or a bin for PC Amber in SSL version 6 draft 1. We did propose a bin for PC Amber product types in the Lucos paper that Tony Esposito and I wrote. That may be something that comes out of a standard, but we did not use that bin in draft 1, only the definition per se. For simplicity's sake, we are not allowing PC Amber products to fall into the CCT bins or the CCT quadrangles, so that there's no confusion there. But manufacturers may disagree, and they may tell us that there needs to be overlap, in which case we will need to adjust our nomenclature to indicate that. Okay, let's see. Cool. I think that is everything. I think I got all the questions now. Stuart, did you see that I missed any? Oh, future ANSI standards around the definition of amber. Thank you. So yes, I sort of touched on this a little bit, but I'll be more specific here. So the C78 committee, which is an ANSI SDO committee, which works on lamps, has a working group that we are on that is working on a future standard called C78.378. 377 is the standard that looks at CCT nomenclature. In that standard, we are looking to standardize color space or chromaticity space and color names, and also to standardize on examples, for example, for technology names. So yes, that is coming. Hopefully this year, but remains to be seen how quickly we can get consensus and move forward. There's a really big gap in that area, and I really believe that standard will offer value. And then, of course, our intention is to roll that standard into DLC as well, so that it's much easier to comply, and we don't have to come up with our own definitions, which is always good. Good question. Okay, let's see. I think I got everything. Make sure I'm not missing any. All right. All right, well, let's move on. Let me just take one more look and make sure I did not miss any. Okay, I think I got them all for now. I'll check again before we're officially done. Lauren, do you want to go to the next slide, please? So let me just share the timeline with you again. Next. So as I mentioned before, we are in the draft 1 comment period. That means that you have approximately 3 more weeks to make your comments on draft 1. This is SSL version 6 and Luna version 2, and email those to us. And I'll share a QR code where you can get those easily in the next screen. But please send those to us by May 16th, by the close of business on May 16th, so that we can get those into our process for draft 2. And then draft 2 will come out on July 21st. And again, we will have a 6-week comment period running through August 29th. Draft 2 is where you'll see us build on the feedback that we received in draft 1, as well as some upcoming information that we ask questions about in draft 1. And then finally, the final policy will be released on October 13th. And we will start taking applications for Luna version 2.0 and SSL version 6.0 on January 5th. This is next January 5th, 2026. And then we will be delisting version 5.1 products and Luna version 1 products on October, that should be, I believe that should be 13th. I think that got cut off. Next year. So not this year, no delisting this year, delisting next year, and start taking applications next year. So that will come down the line. But now is the time for you to share your feedback with us. You are part of our consortium. You are part of our stakeholder cohort, and we really value your feedback, whether we asked a key question or not. Please share your thoughts with us. Please share your expertise with us. You're welcome to share data with us and have meetings with us, but we really value your input here, as I mentioned before. So I'm hoping to hear from quite a few of you today and quite a few of you that attended last week's webinar. All right, next slide, please. And then finally, a couple of QR codes to make it easy to find information. First of all, if you would like to get to the draft, the comment form, or watch the webinar from last week, you can follow this QR code that says version 6.0 and version 2.0, QR code on the left. And if you would like to attend the controls webinar that we will be hosting next week, which has more information on our controllability proposals and our proposals for field adjustable product requirements, that's going to take place on April 30th, excuse me, not October 30th, April 30th. Please register by following the QR code on the right. And we will see you again at the same time and same day next week, right? 2 p.m. on Wednesday, April 30th for that webinar. And let me just make sure there's no outstanding questions that I missed. I do not see any new questions. I don't think. And I see some shared information. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for sharing your Wednesday afternoon with us. I hope this was helpful, and we look forward to working with you on Draft 2. So thanks very much. Have a great day. Be well.